So I've heard 2 or 3 different times in the last 30 minutes, something about hard work and working hard and doing the work and all that. And I just want to ask, what is hard work? Like, what is it? Is it hard physical work? Is it labor that taxes our body? Is it putting ourselves in physical, mental, emotional, and health danger by overworking so that we can justify what? I don't know. You know, my own history, I've always been a very hard worker. I started my first company before I could even drive a car. I was doing house cleaning door to door. I would walk up to somebody's door, knock on it, and say, "Hi, I'm doing house cleaning. I just want to let you know, this is my rate. You know, I'll be in touch." I also had a service that I used that would hook me up with people who needed house cleaning at the time. That was really nice. And that was how I made my money. That was how I put literal food on the table, paid the rent, everything, as a young person with no experience and no connections. So I just started cleaning people's houses. Then I started doing people's lawns. I started, doing gardening and house maintenance and stuff, painting trim, cleaning up hedges and everything. And I would take the bus in Los Angeles heat. It would be 100 plus degrees. I'd take the bus and then I'd walk a couple more miles because rich people's houses in Los Angeles are never accessible by bus. And that's what I did. I put myself through school like that, and then I had a job in a sign shop doing screen printing, and this hot ass screen printing machine that would burn the vinyl onto a surface. And that's, that was hard physical work. I got to college. I worked 2 jobs all through college, working 50 hours a week, going to school full time. It was not intellectually rigorous college for me. It was physically demanding because I would get up at 5, go to my first class at 8, go to work in the middle of the day, go to my second class of the day at, 2 or 3, then go to my other job and work until 1 or 2 in the morning, and then come home and go to sleep and wake up. And in between all of that, I was doing homework and writing papers and stuff. And I loved it. I had an identity as a hard worker. That's who I was a hard worker. So doing this physically demanding, exhausting stuff was very much affirming to me. It made me feel good about myself. And then I carried that into my career. I worked extra hours. Every company I started, I put 17-hour days in. I didn't take no weekends. I wasn't going to be about that lazy shit. I was going to work my ass off. And it paid off. It paid off so well. I have been very rewarded for my workaholic tendencies. And it was easy for someone like me to do that because I have such a tumultuous relationship with my family that it was like a magic word, All my family would have drama and craziness and insanity, and they would be fighting, and they would want me to come and get into that or whatever. And I would just say, "Oh, I can't, I'm at work, I'm working." And it was like, "Oh, okay, oh, never mind, I don't want to bother you at work." It was amazing. Amazing. I didn't have to address my childhood trauma. I didn't have to look at my anorexia. I didn't have to look at my inability to process my own emotions because I was at work. And after a lifetime of working like that was actually not hard work. It's not hard work for me to sit at a desk for 17 hours. It's not hard work for me to get no sleep and work into the night on a project. The hard work that I have engaged in the last 5 years of my career is the hardest I've ever worked. And that was addressing my trauma, which I had done. I've done it, mental health is always a thing. So you do it and then you go along for a while and then you come back to it. But addressing my trauma was one of the hardest things I ever did, ever. It was very difficult because I had to get still, which was a thing I was never still. Get still and listen to myself and honor myself. And I had to admit that I had feelings and they had been hurt. I had to admit Like, and all of this, we're talking about mental stuff, we're talking about me, but all this shit has made me a better manager, because if I go through life thinking that the solution to everything is hard work and that there's only one type of hard work, what kind of manager am I? How do I fucking deal with people? Shittily is the answer. Because once I had to acknowledge that I have feelings, that I'd been hurt in my life, then I had to further acknowledge that other people also had feelings, and that there were situations where other people had been hurt, and where sometimes I was responsible for that, and I had to take responsibility for my fucking actions, which was way harder than just skipping lunch. For me, all of this physicality, the physical labor of hard work, is so easy. That's not hard work, that's easy work. That's kind of cheating. What is hard for me is the internal work. When I got into anti-racism work in earnest, and had to address my proximity to whiteness as a light-complected Chicano, that was very difficult. It was very difficult. I had to look at my own fragility. I had to look at the assumptions that I had made about me, which was just my light-skinned privilege. I had to look at the assumptions that my family had historically made about complexion, about culture, about all this stuff. And I had to accept the places where I had been complicit in white supremacy. That is hard work. Hard. When I finally went back I never had gone. When I finally decided for the first time in my life at 33 years old to get some treatment for my eating disorder, I never worked so hard in my life. That was very hard work. Very, 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 very hard work. So when we talk about someone being a hard worker, are we talking about the nature of the struggle that they sign up for at work? Are we talking about the fact that they are willing to do new work, strange work, internal work, anti-racist work? Or do they just labor harder than others? Because there's also a lot of ableism couched in that, doing the hard work, being able to sit at a desk for 17 hours straight. That's not a thing a lot of people are physically capable of. Being able to work through the pain. I have a chronic illness, and I really, really valued my ability to work through the pain a lot. I pretended that was very important. And then when I started to look not just at my input, I'm working through the pain, I'm working 17 hours, I'm working on weekends, I'm taking calls, in my car on the way to stuff, all this other chaotic bullshit. When I stopped looking at that as my work and started looking at what I produced, it was garbage. I worked 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I didn't get shit for it. Comparatively to when I was healthy, when I was eating regular and meals and taking regular breaks and examining my biases and taking good care of my physical self, the outcomes I get now that I have my mental health on lock, I don't want to say on lock. Anybody who has mental health stuff knows what I'm talking about. But when I'm attending to my mental health and not trying to pretend it doesn't exist, when I'm attending to my physical health and not trying to pretend that doesn't exist, when I'm no longer living in denial or in the fallacy that there is a universe where if I just work hard enough, I can solve all of these internal problems I'm avoiding, that's the hard work that actually pays dividends. So, I don't know. That's just a thought that I've had. I keep hearing the phrase hard work, and I want for me and I want for all of us to know, what does that mean? When we say it, what does it mean? I mean, let's talk about it in the comments. Bye, everyone.